What is going on, Pokemon fans? Welcome back to JD's Nerdverse. Today we're doing a prediction video for Maril, the Aqua Mouse Pokemon. This is a mono water type in Generation 2. It does accumulate the fairy typing in future generations, but in Generation 2 this is just water type. It's the Pikachu clone of this generation. Let's go and go over the stats of this Pikachu clone and see what we're working with. HP is 70, attack is 20, defense is 50, special attack is 20, special defense is 50, speed is 40 for a grand total of 250. Just to put that in perspective, there are baby Pokemon that are more powerful than this Pokemon with better stats. HP is pretty solid, speed is okay, defense, both the defense stats are pretty good, but attack is garbage with this Pokemon, okay? Level 18 we evolve into Azumaril, which is the Aqua Rabbit Pokemon, and HP is 100, attack is 50, defense is 80, special attack is 50, special defense is 80, speed is 50, for a grand total of 410. So, not the greatest stats, but we've done more with less. But where this Pokemon lacks in stats, it makes up with an abundance of moves. So we're going to go over our level up move set now. Level up move set, we start with Tackle and Defense Curl. We don't start at level 1. I guess you can get this as an egg. So that's why the moves are dispersed that way. At level 6 you get Tail Whip, and level 10 we get Water Gun. Water Gun will be our first decent move. Neither one of these are really great because, Water Gun stabs. So it's 60 base power rather than 35 from Tackle. But the attack stat and special stats are not, special attack stat isn't very good. Rollout is a decent move because it accumulates damage over time and pretty much doubles its output every turn. The only downside to it is its accuracy. And then 21 we get Bubble Beam. This will be shortly replaced by another move after that, but with stab it's a 98 base power move. It's 65 base but 98 with stab, 100% accurate. Double Edge is a move that does do a lot of damage but it does recoil, so I don't know how useful this will be in a playthrough. And then Rain Dance will actually up the attacks, the damage output from water moves. So that's all the level up moves we get, okay? So not a lot of level up moves, but where we do have some really nice things is our TM move set. So it's pretty broad, so I'll go over the ones we'll use and kind of skim over the ones we're not going to use. Dynamic Punch is very useful later in the game, not so much when we can get it. We get it at Chuck's Gym, but we would really use this in one specific battle, maybe two specific battles. But it's 100 base power with 50% accurate, but it does confuse every time it hits. So if we hit, confusion throws the opposition into confusion look. And yeah, it's useful for in one or two battles. It's not consistently useful throughout the course of a playthrough. Headbutt is a 70 base power move, 100% accurate. We will use this. We will outspeed a lot of things because the nature of this Pokemon is it's in the fast level up group. So it will outpace opposition. So even though we don't have the greatest speed, we will be a high level. So we'll be able to have higher speed, and therefore Headbutt will be very useful because it can cause a flinch. Curse, not going to use its outlawed rollout. The TM may be useful if we have to delete it and add it later, but it's the same as the level up one, so it might not be useful at all. We'll see. Toxic, not going to use. Rock Smash, not going to use. Hidden Power, I think Hidden Power Fire makes sense with this Pokemon. It really just eliminates one specific gym. And maybe two if you think about Price's gym. It's Jasmine and Price's gym. So those are the two gyms I think Fire would be most effective against. And there's a couple things in the Elite Four it could be used against too. Plus you pair that with the Charcoal. And yeah, very useful hidden power. It's going to compensate for a lot of typing. Snore, not going to use. Blizzard, we could use. It's very powerful. But in this generation, it's actually not as good as it was in Generation 1. Generation 1, I believe, was 90% accurate. And in this generation, it's 70, and it costs a lot to buy. So if we're going to buy a move, we might as well wait a little bit later and get a different one. Hyper Beam, not going to use. Icy Wind could be useful if we didn't already have access to another move. But yeah, we get that when we beat Price, so pretty useful. But we're not going to use it in this playthrough because we have arms, so we can learn Ice Punch. So Ice Punch is much better than Icy Wind. It's more reliable. It's higher base power. It's 100% accurate. It has the same power points too, so it's just a significantly better move. Ice Punch is not as good as Blizzard, but it's pretty good, and it'll bridge the gap between our next ice move that we're going to use instead of Blizzard. Protect, Rain Dance, Endure, Frustration, not going to use. I've been contemplating using Frustration in like some of my optimized playthroughs, or like have every Pokemon have access to it so it has a move or something. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Frustration? Let me know. Iron Tail, not going to use. Return will be our most powerful physical move until Dynamic Punch is used. It ends up being 102 base power. Pair that with our attack stat, which isn't great, but also pair that with the normal gym and getting a boost from the Pink Bow. this move becomes very useful in a lot of situations. Mud Slap, a little bit useful with this Pokemon. It does have a short shelf life, but a shelf life nonetheless. 20 base power, 100% accurate. It does lower accuracy. Double Team, not going to use. Ice Punch is a very good move we're going to use until we get to a point. Now, I'll mention this is not listed here, but there's another move we can learn from a tutor called Ice Beam. And Ice Punch will be our signature ice move to compensate for, or to deal with flying type, grass type, rock type, things like that. Until we get Ice Beam, and Ice Beam is a 95 base power move, 100% accurate, so it's very good. With Never Melt Ice, both these moves just become much more powerful, along with beating Price's Gym. So definitely a must-have in most playthroughs, having one ice move, and it makes one gym member and one Elite Four member pretty much obsolete. So Swagger, not going to use. Sleep Talk, not going to use. Swift will replace Tackle. It is more powerful, even though our attack stats horrible. It is way more. It's 35 base power, and then it goes to 60 with Swift. So we're going to take that upgrade every time. Defense Curl, we already have it via level up, but there is a strategy that I might use later in the game where we have Defense Curl and Rollout, or Defense Curl ups the output of Rollout. So you do that first setup and then sweep with Rollout. So it's possible that could be a break glass in case of emergency kind of strategy. Rest, not going to use. I have not found a use for this in any of my playthroughs, and I probably won't find one in this one, but you never know. Attract, Surf is very good. This is our most powerful water move, and you pair this with the Mystic Water and the fact that this is also Stab. 38 base power move, very useful. It's going to be extremely useful with this Pokemon, and like I said, 10% boost from the Mystic Water when we pick that up. And then eventually we're going to beat Misty's Gym, and we're going to have a 10% boost there. So just a very powerful move. We just don't have great special attack, so it does as good as it can. It's the best, most powerful move we're going to be able to use, though. Strength, not going to use. Whirlpool, Waterfall, not going to use. So that's our level up moveset, or I'm sorry, TM moveset. And like I said, I mentioned one tutor move with Ice Beam. So in-game moveset, looking at like Surf, Ice Beam, Return, and Hidden Power, Fire maybe. So that's a pretty solid moveset for the end of the game. And it's just about how we strategically plan that out. But yeah, that's our TM moveset. So let's go back to the first slide and I'll give a prediction. I think this Pokemon is, though its stats are bad, this is a Pokemon that definitely compensates for those stats. Okay, we're not going to go sweeping, we're not going to go like one-shotting everything until we're like middle of the game where we're a little bit over-leveled. But I do think we're going to do a really good job against most of the game. I don't see where we're going to run into a brick wall. So I think the only brick wall I honestly see is Bellsprout Tower, because it's so early and we don't have enough, we're not over-leveled enough to have our attack stat more powerful, and Water is definitely not going to do enough against Bellsprout Tower. So that's the only real place I see a real struggle. With this Pokemon. I think this Pokemon get this done, and this might be a really overzealous prediction, but I think we'll get it done about 2 hours and 10 minutes, 2 hours and 20 minutes, sometime in that range. I just don't see where we're going to have a lot of struggles. None of the Elite Four members really going to give us struggles. I don't see any gym leader giving us really any problems. At the point in which we're facing every gym leader, we have something that can make that battle can be a pretty easy sweep, even with the low stats. We have an overpowered Surf move early, and that's going to make gyms 4 through 8 very simple. And not to mention, it's typed with enough move diversity to have a Fire, Water, and an Ice type. It's going to cover a lot of things, and I just don't see where there's going to be a huge struggle with this Pokemon. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But this is JD's Nerdverse. This playthrough will air on Friday, and that's it. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys on Friday.